Part 2, Challenging the Shadows. Marcus Hensley, the quiet Cambridge computer scientist turned multiverse pioneer, found himself at an existential crossroads. He had seen firsthand the terrifying potential of his quantum translocator in the wrong hands. The question that gnawed at him now was not one of science, but of morality. Should he remain in the shadows, living in the comfort of his wealth and anonymity, or step into the light, risking everything to fight against Quill's multiverse manipulation? Marcus was not one for impulsive decisions. He spent days poring over the documents he'd discovered in the alternate universe, mapping out the insidious network of quantum shadow. His lab, once a haven of calculated equations and coded algorithms, was now filled with hastily scribbled notes and interconnected diagrams. The complexity of Quill's operation was daunting. The billionaire's influence stretched across universes, like a puppet master pulling the strings of countless realities. Governments were being controlled, military operations orchestrated, all to further the ambition of one man. The magnitude of this manipulation was almost too colossal to comprehend. But Marcus was not deterred. The scientist in him welcomed the challenge, and the human in him was fueled by a sense of duty. It was one thing to gather knowledge and wealth from the multiverse, and another entirely to exploit and manipulate it. Marcus knew he couldn't stand by while the very fabric of reality was being tampered with. With newfound resolve, he embarked on his mission. First, he had to understand the intricacies of Quantum Shadow's operation. He spent days, and then weeks, lost in the labyrinth and maze of confidential documents, meticulously cataloging each piece of information. He noted the universes that were under Quill's influence, the strategies employed, and the key players involved. Next, Marcus began enhancing his quantum translocator. If he was to challenge Quill, he needed to be prepared for every eventuality. Marcus modified the device to not only traverse universes but also to cloak his movements. He couldn't afford to alert Quantum Shadow of his intentions. Simultaneously, he created a failsafe, a return protocol that would bring him back to his home universe in case of emergencies. This was uncharted territory, and Marcus knew better than to venture into it without precautions. As Marcus delved deeper into his mission, his life outside the lab began to change. His reputation as a leading scientist and successful investor remained untouched, but the man behind the accolades was transforming. The quiet computer scientist was giving way to a determined crusader, a man ready to gamble everything for the sake of reality. The enormity of his task did not escape Marcus. He was about to challenge a power that had orchestrated governments and influenced military organizations, but the fear that once would have made him retreat was replaced by determination. Marcus knew that standing up to Quantum Shadow was a leap into the unknown, a leap that was even more daunting than his first jump into the multiverse. But he was ready. He had rolled the dice and played with the fabric of reality, all for personal gain. Now, he was prepared to do it again, but this time, for a cause greater than himself. Marcus Hensley was no longer just a scientist. He was a guardian standing at the edge of reality, prepared to protect the multiverse from the shadows that threatened it. The quantum mechanic. Equipped with a new sense of purpose, Marcus's journey to understand the full scope of Quantum Shadow's influence took on a frenetic pace. He systematically visited the universes he'd noted in Quill's confidential documents, witnessing firsthand the degree of manipulation. In one universe, he watched as a major war was averted, the leaders surprisingly compliant, almost as if controlled. In another, he observed as a groundbreaking technology was suppressed, stunting the growth of an entire civilization. And in yet another, he noted the strange ascent of Vincent Quill as a revered scientific and political figure. These visits solidified Marcus's resolve to confront Quantum Shadow. With each universe, the stakes grew clearer, and the puppeteer's strings became more visible. The multiverse was not just a spectrum of realities, it was a symphony of life, innovation, and growth, and Quill's tampering threatened to turn the symphony into a monotone, every reality dancing to his sinister tune. Back in his lab, Marcus threw himself into upgrading his quantum translocator. He had a clear vision now, to create a device that was not just capable of quantum travel, but one that was equipped to combat Quill's influence. His plan was twofold. He aimed to build a feature into his device that could detect Quantum Shadow's manipulation, like a beacon in the darkness, highlighting areas of interference. Simultaneously, he was working on a protective shield, a digital firewall that could defend his own universe from Quantum Shadow's influence. Days turned into nights as Marcus worked tirelessly on his upgrades. His once rudimentary device was evolving into a formidable tool. The updated translocator now boasted a discrete cloaking feature, a robust return protocol, and the newly added manipulation detection system. With each added feature, Marcus's understanding of his own creation deepened. He was no longer merely a scientist working on a groundbreaking algorithm. He had become a quantum mechanic, fine-tuning his instrument to fight against the looming shadow threatening the multiverse. Despite the progress, Marcus was acutely aware of the ticking clock. His late-night endeavors, coupled with his conspicuous absences from academic circles, were starting to attract attention. He had to act swiftly before his activities raised any more suspicion. If Quill or the quantum shadow were alerted, the consequences would be dire. So, Marcus made a bold decision. With the upgraded quantum translocator in hand and the confidential documents secured away, he took a deep breath, ready to plunge into the most critical phase of his mission. As he activated the translocator, the familiar hum filled the room. The quantum mechanic was ready to go on the offensive, stepping into the multiverse not as a silent observer but as an active protector. He was armed with more than just a revolutionary device. He carried with him the weight of countless realities, the hopes of innumerable lives unknowingly manipulated by an unseen hand. Marcus Hensley, the man who had shied away from the unknown, was now embracing it. The shadows of the multiverse were about to meet their match. Unseen warrior. Marcus found himself in another universe, his translocator humming softly in his hand. This universe, much like his own, was bustling with life, but beneath the surface-level normalcy, Marcus's device revealed the telltale signs of quantum shadow's manipulation. Beneath the cloak of anonymity, Marcus moved through the city streets. He tracked the fingerprints of quantum shadow, using his translocator's manipulation detection system. In this universe, a technological breakthrough, revolutionary in combating climate change, was being stifled, its development inexplicably halted. With the translocator guiding him, Marcus made his way to the headquarters of the company responsible for the breakthrough. Breaking into their digital systems with the help of his device, he found evidence of manipulated data, skewed research findings, and suppressed innovations, all orchestrated to halt the development of the technology. Marcus acted swiftly. He unmasked the manipulated data, restored the original research findings, and uncovered the suppressed innovations. When he left, the company was back on track to making its revolutionary contribution to fighting climate change. Marcus returned to his lab, his heart pounding in a mix of exhilaration and fear. He had done it. He had directly countered quantum shadow's influence. It was a small victory in the grand scheme, but it marked the start of his fight against Quill's manipulation. The following days saw Marcus traversing various universes, fighting the shadows with his quantum translocator. He interfered with Quill's plans, unraveled quantum shadow's manipulations, and undid the changes they had implemented. He became a warrior in the shadows, waging a silent battle to protect the sanctity of the multiverse. Despite his victories, Marcus remained cautious. He knew he had not yet come face to face with the true might of quantum shadow. He had merely been undoing their peripheral manipulations, but the core of Quill's power remained untouched. Marcus's resolve was tested every day, but he held on. The quiet computer scientist had evolved into a guardian of the multiverse, and he was not about to back down. His mission became his life. Defending the multiverse had transformed from an abstract concept into a tangible fight. Throughout his journey, Marcus remained solitary. His work required stealth, speed, and most importantly, secrecy. He was fighting a battle that the world was not even aware of, a war where the battle lines were drawn across the multiverse itself. Marcus understood that his fight was not one that could be won overnight. Quill and Quantum Shadow had been manipulating multiverses for years, their power entrenched in the realities of countless universes. But Marcus was not deterred. He was determined to dismantle the web of control woven by Quantum Shadow. As the final day of his second phase drew to a close, Marcus looked out from his lab onto the familiar landscape of his universe. He had started this journey with a device and an algorithm, not knowing where it would lead him. Now, he was standing on the front line of a multiverse war, a war he was determined to win. Marcus Hensley, the risk-averse computer scientist from the University of Cambridge, was now an unseen warrior, a man standing against the shadows, armed with a quantum translocator and a resolve as steadfast as the infinite multiverses he aimed to protect. This was only the beginning. Marcus knew that the biggest challenges were yet to come.